It was a spring morning, April 15th, 1452, in a small Tuscan town called Vinci, Italy. There, nestled among olive groves and winding hills, a boy was born out of wedlock to a local notary and a peasant woman. His name? Leonardo, from Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was not born into royalty or riches. He had no formal schooling in Greek or Latin, which would have been expected of a scholar. But he had something else: eyes that noticed everything, and hands that tried to draw the truth of the world. As a child, Leonardo was always outside, watching birds fly, pulling apart flowers, sketching the movement of water. He didn't just look at the world, he studied it, wondered about it, asked questions no one else was asking. In his early teens, Leonardo moved to Florence, the heart of the Italian Renaissance. Art was everywhere: painted ceilings, chiseled marble, and frescoes that glowed with life. At 14, he joined the workshop of the great master Andrea del Verrocchio, where he learned painting, sculpting, metalwork, and mechanics. Legend has it that when Leonardo painted an angel in one of Verrocchio's works, the master was so stunned by the boy's talent that he never picked up a brush again. But Leonardo didn't just want to paint what people looked like. He wanted to understand how they moved, why they felt, and what lay beneath their skin. So he began to study the human body, often dissecting corpses in secret. He drew muscles, tendons, even fetuses in the womb. Sketches so accurate, they were centuries ahead of modern medicine. Leonardo wasn't a man of one place. He moved often, from Florence to Milan, Rome, and later France. Always with his notebooks, always sketching. In Milan, he worked for Duke Ludovico Sforza, not just as a painter, but as a military engineer, architect, and party planner. There he painted The Last Supper, a masterpiece unlike anything before it. The moment of Jesus announcing a betrayal, captured in motion, gesture, shock, suspicion. Each apostle is a drama unto himself. But the painting began to deteriorate almost immediately. Leonardo had experimented with a new method on a dry wall, and it failed. Still, even as it faded, the genius of its composition became legend. Leonardo was obsessed with flight. He studied birds in motion and designed winged contraptions. Though he never flew, his notebooks contain working concepts for helicopters, gliders, and parachutes. He sketched tanks, automatic bridges, diving suits, and a mechanical knight. Ideas so ahead of their time that they weren't possible until centuries later. He was also a pioneer of anatomy, hydraulics, optics, botany, and astronomy. Yet he published almost nothing. Most of his discoveries remained hidden in his notebooks, which numbered into the thousands of pages. In his later years, Leonardo painted a portrait of a woman named Lisa Gherardini, likely the wife of a wealthy Florentine merchant. He carried that painting with him for the rest of his life. We know it today as the Mona Lisa. It is arguably the most famous painting in the world, not because of grandeur, but because of mystery. Her smile seems to shift. Her eyes follow you. Leonardo used techniques like sfumato, the soft blending of tones, and chiaroscuro, the contrast of light and shadow, to breathe life into her. It wasn't just a painting. It was a living enigma. He never gave it to the man who commissioned it. He couldn't part with it. In 1516, King Francis I of France invited Leonardo to spend his last years in the Château du Clos-Lucé. There, among gardens and peace, he drew, taught, and imagined. By this time, Leonardo's right hand was paralyzed. He could no longer paint. But his mind, still full of blueprints and riddles. He died on May 2nd, 1519, at age 67. It's said the king wept at his side. He left behind no children, no grand tomb, only notebooks, sketches, and a name that would echo through centuries. Leonardo da Vinci was not just a painter. He was not just a scientist. He was not just an inventor. He was the embodiment of curiosity itself. He taught us that art and science are not opposites, but mirrors. That observation is a kind of worship, that the future begins when you look at the present and ask, why? To this day, scholars still study his notebooks. Engineers build from his sketches. Artists learn from his strokes. He left us not with answers, but with questions. And questions are immortal. On a fierce summer night, July 10th, 1856, in the small village of Smiljan, nestled in the mountains and valleys of what is now Croatia, a boy was born amid thunder and lightning. His parents named him Nikola Tesla. Right from the start, Nikola was different. His mother, Juka, was a remarkable woman who had a knack for inventing simple household devices and memorizing epic poems. She nurtured Nikola's curiosity, encouraging him to look beyond the obvious and to explore the mysteries of the world. His father, Milutin, was a man of steady discipline and sharp intellect. Though strict, Milutin's love was evident in the way he pushed Nikola toward education and knowledge. Nikola's childhood was full of wonder. As a boy, he often experienced vivid visions, flashes of light, spinning gears, humming machines, all appearing spontaneously in his mind's eye. He could memorize entire books and perform complex mathematical calculations in his head. But with great gifts came challenges. Nikola was prone to intense headaches and unusual sensitivities. The sound of a ticking watch could disturb him deeply. He was obsessed with cleanliness and perfection, a trait that sometimes isolated him from others. Nikola's early schooling was marked by brilliance and a restless mind. At the Gymnasium Karlovac, he excelled in physics and mathematics, but found social life difficult. His ability to solve complex problems quickly made some classmates jealous. Yet, his passion for discovery burned brighter every day. Inspired by the natural world, Tesla began to dream about electricity, a mysterious force he believed could change the world. He was fascinated by the lightning bolts he saw during storms, wondering if humans could one day harness that power. After gymnasium, Tesla enrolled in the Austrian Polytechnic School in Graz to study engineering. He mastered the theories of alternating current and direct current, but soon realized his mind worked differently from his professors. Tesla's ideas often seemed radical, even dangerous. When his father wanted him to join the priesthood or law, Nikola chose engineering instead, a decision that would shape the modern world forever. Nikola's gift wasn't just in studying others' discoveries. It was in visualizing new inventions. Unlike most inventors who sketched ideas on paper, Tesla could build entire machines inside his mind, testing and perfecting them before touching a tool. He once described how he could see gears turning, pulleys moving, and electricity flowing in vivid detail, allowing him to solve complex engineering problems silently. This unique ability made Tesla a pioneer. He began to design motors and generators based on alternating current, AC, a concept many thought impractical or unsafe at the time. In 1884, armed with little more than a suitcase, a letter of recommendation, and a mind bursting with ideas, Tesla arrived in New York City. His letter read, "I know two great men. One is Edison, The other is this young man. Tesla soon started working for Thomas Edison, the era's most famous inventor. Edison's company focused on direct current DC electricity, but Tesla believed alternating current AC was the future. Their differing visions soon led to a clash. Tesla proposed improvements to Edison's DC motors, but was met with skepticism. Edison offered Tesla a large bonus if he fixed problems with DC generators. But when Tesla succeeded, Edison reneged on the promise. Feeling betrayed, Tesla quit and struggled for a time, digging ditches to survive while developing his AC system on the side. Tesla's breakthrough came when George Westinghouse, an entrepreneur and engineer, recognized the potential of Tesla's alternating current system. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents and championed AC. Together, Tesla and Westinghouse faced Edison in a bitter battle for dominance in electricity, known as the War of Currents. Edison launched a smear campaign calling AC dangerous, even electrocuting animals to prove his point. But Tesla's AC was cheaper to produce and capable of transmitting electricity over long distances. The turning point came at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Tesla's AC system powered the entire fair, dazzling millions with electric lights and rides. Soon after, the Niagara Falls Power Project harnessed AC to supply electricity to Buffalo, New York. A monumental achievement proving Tesla's vision. Tesla's fame grew. His laboratory became a magnet for inventors, scientists, and journalists. He demonstrated spectacular feats of electricity, shooting bolts of lightning from his famous Tesla coil, creating glowing plasma balls, and illuminating bulbs held in his hands without wires. Tesla wasn't interested in money as much as discovery. His ideas included wireless power transmission, sending electricity through the air, long before modern Wi-Fi. He invented early radio technology, a remote-controlled boat, and machines that hinted at the future of robotics and radar. Tesla dreamed of a world where power was free and wireless. With funding from J.P. Morgan, he built a huge tower on Long Island, Wardenclyffe Tower, designed to send electrical energy through the Earth's atmosphere, providing unlimited power worldwide. But when Morgan realized the project wouldn't make money, he withdrew funding. Without resources, the tower was dismantled, and Tesla's dream faded. Tesla spent his final years alone in New York hotels. He cared for pigeons, especially one white bird he loved deeply. He remained brilliant, but grew more eccentric. Despite his many inventions, Tesla died nearly penniless on January 7, 1943, in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. After his death, Tesla's work inspired generations of scientists and engineers. Today, Tesla's name is immortalized in science, technology, and culture. The Tesla unit, electric cars, and countless inventions. Nikola Tesla's story is not just about electricity. It's about the power of imagination, relentless curiosity, and the drive to change the world. He reminds us that sometimes the brightest minds walk paths misunderstood in their time, but their light will shine through history. Luis Picasso was born on October 25, 1881, in the coastal city of Malaga, Spain. The name itself hints at a grand destiny, but in the early days, Pablo was simply a boy with an extraordinary gift. His father, José Ruiz Blasco, was a respected art teacher and painter specializing in naturalistic depictions of birds and landscapes. José had strong faith and discipline and classical training, and was strict but loving with young Pablo. From the very beginning, Jose recognized the raw talent in his son and took charge of his earliest artistic education. Pablo was a quiet but intensely curious child. He began drawing before he could speak properly, and by age 7, his skills far surpassed those of most children his age. Unlike many prodigies who lose interest, Pablo's obsession with drawing only deepened. He would spend hours copying everything he saw, plants, animals, people, with a natural precision his father admired and encouraged. His mother, Maria Picasso Lopez, was a steady emotional anchor in his life. She supported Pablo's dreams quietly, providing warmth and encouragement that softened his father's firm discipline. This family dynamic laid the foundation for Pablo's lifelong balancing act between rigorous technique and wild creativity. When Pablo was still a young boy, the Ruiz family moved to the town of A Coruña in northwest Spain, where his father secured a teaching position. Pablo attended school there, but found traditional academics tedious compared to the world of art. Jose was determined to cultivate Pablo's technical skills and pushed him hard. Though Pablo loved to experiment, his father insisted he master drawing and painting the right way first. The young artist accepted this discipline, but harbored a restless desire to break free from conventions. In 1891, tragedy struck when Pablo's younger sister Conchita died of diphtheria at age 7. This loss affected the family deeply, especially Pablo, who expressed his grief through increasingly intense and somber drawings. At age 14, Pablo entered the prestigious School of Fine Arts in Barcelona. It was a turning point. He quickly became known as a prodigy among his peers, with a mature style that combined naturalistic skill with a budding individual vision. He also developed a close bond with his younger brother, who shared the family's artistic leanings. Despite the pressures and expectations, the home remained a place of encouragement and creative dialogue. Barcelona, at the turn of the century, was a city bursting with cultural ferment. Pablo found himself in the midst of artists, writers, and thinkers experimenting with new ideas. His early works from this period were influenced by realism and impressionism, but already bore the mark of emotional depth. Scenes of poverty, hardship, and marginalized people. By 1899, Pablo was frequenting the Els Quatre Gats, a cafe that was a hub for young creatives. Here he mingled with writers, musicians, and painters who encouraged him to explore beyond classical art. Despite his youth, his art began attracting attention. His father's teaching reputation helped, but it was Pablo's own intense focus and originality that won him early exhibitions. In 1901, after the suicide of his close friend Carlos Casagemas, Picasso entered a profound period of grief and reflection that became known as the Blue Period. For nearly 5 years, his paintings were dominated by blue and green tones, depicting the poor, the blind, the outcasts, figures weighed down by loneliness and despair. This phase is often seen as Pablo's first truly personal statement in art. Though somber, it revealed his empathy and deep sensitivity. During this time, Picasso lived mostly in poverty in Paris, but the pain he expressed would later be recognized as groundbreaking. Around 1904, the Blue Period gave way to the warmer Rose Period. Picasso moved to the Montmartre district of Paris and began painting circus performers, acrobats, and harlequins, figures that embodied both fragility and grace. His palette brightened with reds, pinks, and earthy tones. Though still introspective, these works hinted at humor and a tentative optimism. The Rose period also marked a social turning point. Picasso gained friendships with other avant-garde artists and writers, deepening his immersion in the Parisian art scene. By 1907, Picasso was ready for radical change. Inspired by African masks, Iberian sculpture, and Paul Cézanne's work, Picasso shattered traditional perspectives with Cubism, a movement he co-founded with Georges Braque. Cubism broke objects into geometric shapes and showed multiple viewpoints at once. Picasso's masterpiece, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, 1907, shocked the art world with its fragmented, raw portrayal of 5 women. The Cubist years were intense experimentation. Picasso and Braque collaborated closely, pushing boundaries of form, color, and space. Through these turbulent years, Picasso remained deeply connected to his family. His father, though retired, watched with pride as his son's reputation grew. The relationship was complex. José's traditional values sometimes clashed with Pablo's boldness, yet love endured. Picasso was devoted to his mother until her death in 1938, frequently sending her letters and paintings. His younger sister Lola, an artist herself, also remained a close family member. Though Picasso often moved far from his homeland, family ties remained a constant grounding force amid his restless creativity. The 1930s were a dark time for Spain and for Picasso. When the Spanish Civil War erupted in 1936, Picasso, living in France, used his art as a weapon against violence. His monumental painting Guernica, 1937, depicted the terror of the Nazi bombing of a Basque town. The black and white mural showed anguished figures, humans and animals caught in agony. Guernica toured the world as a plea for peace and a symbol of resistance. In his later decades, Picasso refused to rest. He embraced ceramics, sculpture, printmaking, and stage design. His output was prolific, tens of thousands of works. Living mostly in the south of France, he remained a towering figure of 20th century art until his death on April 8, 1973. Picasso's story is one of relentless innovation. From a boy with a pencil in Malaga to the master who redefined art's possibilities, he was a force who challenged conventions and changed the world's vision. His love for family, discipline, and freedom fueled a lifetime of creation. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche was born on October 15, 1844, in the small town of Rücken, in the Kingdom of Prussia, modern-day Germany. He was the first child of Karl Ludwig Nietzsche, a Lutheran pastor, and Franziska Oehler, though his father's profession was religious. Friedrich's story is shaped more by the loss of his father at an early age and the enduring love and influence of his mother and family than by any religious dogma. When Friedrich was just 5 years old, his father died suddenly of a brain ailment, leaving the family in mourning and financial difficulty. This loss deeply affected young Friedrich. He was raised mainly by his mother, Franziska, along with his 2 younger sisters, Elizabeth and Therese. The family was close-knit. Though Friedrich's health was fragile throughout childhood, he was nurtured in a warm, intellectual environment where education and reading were valued. Even as a boy, Friedrich showed signs of intense curiosity and a voracious appetite for knowledge. He was fascinated by ancient languages, literature, and music. Friedrich attended a prestigious boarding school, Schulpforta, starting at age 12. This school was known for its strict discipline and classical curriculum, focusing on Latin, Greek, and philosophy. Though often physically weak and prone to illness, Friedrich excelled academically. His teachers noted his exceptional intellect and sharp wit. During these formative years, Friedrich developed a love for Greek tragedy and philosophy, especially the works of Homer, Plato, and the pre-Socratic thinkers. The influence of classical culture would stay with him for life and become the foundation of his later philosophical work. Despite his successes, Friedrich often felt isolated, both because of his health and his unusual mind. He was not one to follow the crowd, but to challenge ideas and think independently. At just 20 years old, Friedrich Nietzsche was appointed as a professor of classical philology at the University of Basel in Switzerland. A remarkable achievement for someone so young. His academic career began promisingly, but Nietzsche's mind was restless. He was not content to study ancient texts as mere scholars did. He wanted to understand the deeper meanings of life, morality, and human nature. During these years, he developed the beginnings of his philosophy, questioning traditional values, morality, and the assumptions of Western culture. Friedrich's family remained a source of emotional support, particularly his sister Elizabeth, who admired her brother deeply and later became influential in managing his legacy. Nietzsche's early published works showed a sharp critique of established ideas. He rejected the blind faith in objective truth and morality, instead proposing that values were created by individuals and cultures, not given by some absolute standard. In books like The Birth of Tragedy, 1872, Nietzsche celebrated the power of art, music, and instinct, aspects of human life that logic and reason alone could never fully capture. He introduced the idea of the will to power, a fundamental drive he believed motivated all human behavior, from ambition to creativity. Nietzsche was a loner in many ways. His work was too radical for many academic circles, and his health often forced him into isolation. Throughout his life, Nietzsche battled severe health problems, migraines, poor eyesight, digestive issues, and nervous breakdowns. These ailments limited his public engagements and made him depend more on close family and friends. His fragile body could not contain the intensity of his mind. Yet, in solitude, he produced some of the most profound philosophical writings of the modern era. Despite the physical suffering, his will to understand and redefine human existence was unshakable. In the 1880s, Nietzsche published some of his most famous works, including Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, and On the Genealogy of Morals. These books introduced provocative ideas. The death of God, not a religious statement, but a metaphor for the decline of traditional values. The Übermensch, Overman, or Superman, as an ideal for human self-overcoming, and a new way of thinking about morality beyond good and evil. Though misunderstood and often rejected by his contemporaries, Nietzsche's writings planted seeds that would influence philosophy, literature, psychology, and art for generations. In 1889, Nietzsche suffered a mental breakdown in Turin. It marked the end of his productive life. He was cared for by his mother and then by his sister Elizabeth. Though his health declined, the bond with family remained strong. Elizabeth devoted herself to preserving and promoting his work, though later she controversially edited some writings to align with her views. Nietzsche died on August 25, 1900, but his influence was just beginning to grow. Nietzsche's life was a journey of questioning, struggle, and brilliant insight. He challenged the foundations of morality, truth, and human nature, urging individuals to create their own values and meaning. His philosophy continues to inspire and provoke, a testament to a mind that refused to accept easy answers. At his core was a man shaped by family love, physical hardship, and an unrelenting quest for understanding.